Thanks everyone for joining in on our very first Facebook Live. Who's excited? I know I'm super excited, and I have been watching the comments and all the posts on the Facebook group, and I know y'all are excited too. So if you go to my.modafabrics.com and go to Inspiration and Resources, you should see the Blockheads 5 archive page. So that is a page you're going to want to bookmark because it is going to have every week it'll be updated with the most current pattern, and it'll have links to other important resources like the fabric requirements that everyone's been waiting very patiently for. It'll have the link to dun, da, 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 our Blockheads merch. I know y'all are super excited about that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. That archive post is like, think of it like the master post for all of Blockheads. So every week we'll have an individual blog post for that week's pattern, but then you'll also want to reference the archive page because it's going to stay up forever, and it'll grow every week with the new blog pattern. We've got a lot of new people who have joined our Facebook group, and we are so excited to have you. So I just want to give you a quick Facebook Blockheads Group 101. First of all, if you're watching this live, then you made it to the group, so hooray! That's awesome. That's all you have to do. You don't have to sign up to get Blockheads or anything like that. You're in the group. We want to go over just a couple little things about, best practices for using our group. We've got like 63,000 now of y'all and climbing. So one thing that I want to encourage everyone to do is to find the little search bar. If you go up to kind of the top of our main page, over on the right side in the menu area, you'll see like a field with a little magnifying glass. That's our search. And if you will just do us a favor and make sure that you search there for your question before you post a new question, because chances are your question has already been asked. So you might not even have to go through and post a new question. I wanted to make sure that y'all know about the featured section. So right underneath the menu, you'll see it'll say featured, and it'll be a slider of posts. And I will pin all of my posts and all of our designer posts there once Blockheads gets going. So that should be your first stop to check out and read all of those featured posts. It's going to have lots of information in there. So if you don't see it in your search or just can't quite find it, go ahead and check that featured section though, and you'll see all the really important information in those posts there. So I'll always pin those up at the top so that you'll be able to reference them really quickly. Another thing you're gonna want to know how to find is our files. So up in the top it says discussion and some other things, and then it'll say files, and if you click on that tab, that's where we will post all of the patterns every week. So definitely make note of that. That's where you'll go every week to find the pattern download. So that's just a little bit about using the Facebook group. Please don't forget to make sure you check out the group rules and all that kind of good stuff. Some basics about Blockheads, because again, we have a lot of new people joining us. So maybe this is your first time doing Blockheads. What is it, right? Blockheads is a free block of the week program that Moda puts on every year. This is our 5th year doing it. The first one was back in 2016, and it was, I think, just 6 of our fabric designers and quilt designers who were part of Blockheads won. And the goal was to provide a regular block of the week program that also kind of gave quilters a chance to check out our more traditional quilters and designers. And it was a huge hit. And we just kept it going. So this year we have more designers than ever participating, including some familiar faces and some new faces. I can't wait for y'all to find out all the new people that are joining Blockheads as guest designers this year, but it'll be more designers than ever before. So I'm really excited about that. Every week there is a new guest designer, and she will post in the Facebook group her block of the week with, you know, a picture and kind of a little bit of background about her block. And then you'll be able to go to visit her blog to read a little bit more about maybe her inspiration, some color options, or some tricks and tips that she might have for how to construct her block. So even though we'll have the Blockheads patterns every week on our Facebook page, and also on our blog, you definitely want to make sure you check out our designers' blogs. You're not going to want to miss those. Their weekly blog posts always have a lot of great information, great inspiration, and you get to know our designers really well through this program. So we really hope that you check them out every week. As I mentioned, they'll also be on the Moda blog. So every week we will have a blog post that has the link to the PDF download, and then it will have a link to the designer's blog. So that's two good places for you to go and find the patterns. In the Facebook group under files, and then on Moda Inspiration and Resources in that blog post of the week. And then also in the blog archive post. So we're trying to, it seems like it's a lot, but it's the kind of the same places, and so then you'll always know you can go to the same places every week to find what you're looking for. If you don't want to wait for the blog post for you to have to go to the blog post, you can sign up for our newsletter. Go to my.modafabrics.com/inspiration+resources. And you can sign up for our newsletter and have the blog posts delivered right to your inbox every week. So that's just a little bit about Blockheads. You don't have to sign up for anything. If you're in the group, in the Facebook group, awesome. We love to have you here. If you want to follow along on Instagram, we will always be posting our blocks and the designer blocks on Instagram. So it's a great way. Look for #Blockheads5. So you can follow along there if Instagram is your favorite place to go, or you can just sew along from the comfort of your own home. So you don't have to sign up for anything. It's totally free. And we're super excited to be putting this on for you guys this year. So now let's talk about this year's Blockheads. So we're doing something a little bit different this year, and we're breaking up the series into two groups. And the reason we're doing that is honestly because I, as a new Blockheads person, was like, I don't know if I am prepared to dive into like a 40+ week quilt along. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we broke it up and we had a smaller group at first so that you could finish a project, especially for new quilters, or if you're just new to doing a block of the week or a quilt along online. It's just a little bit more, you can wrap your arms around it just a little bit better if it's just a shorter group, and then make a smaller project. Our first group will kick off September 6th, that's next Wednesday, and it will run through November 15th, and we'll have a total of 9 blocks plus a bonus block, and then some smaller project settings. So I've got 3 project settings for this first group planned out for you. There's going to be a lap quilt, there's going to be a pillow, and then there's going to be a bunting, which I'm really excited about. So something kind of fun. So if you wanted to make your Blockheads in some kind of themed fabric, especially for like a bunting, then you can totally do that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Blockheads is like a big old choose your own adventure. So you can make it in whatever fabrics makes you happy. So I'm doing mine in some Christmassy reds and greens, super scrappy. But you don't have to do holiday themed fabric. We're finishing up right before the holidays so that if that's your jam, you can make a gift for someone or you can make a gift for yourself. But you don't have to use holiday fabric or Christmas fabric. You can make whatever you want. So I will be providing those finishing options, more details on those as our series progresses. In addition to the 3 that I've designed, I know at least one of our designers is providing a setting option. And usually we have a couple designers that will provide new setting options. So just keep an eye out for those. We will be sure to post those in the files section. They'll be posted just like any other block pattern. So you can kind of plan, if you like to plan in advance, then you kind of have an idea of where we're going. There's going to be 2 block sizes, so every week the pattern will have cutting instructions for 2 sizes. It'll be 6-inch finished and 12-inch finished. So for my lap quilt and pillow settings, those will incorporate both block sizes and some duplicate blocks. So there might be one that if you really love one of the blocks in particular, you might end up for one of the settings making one of the 12-inch and one in the 6-inch, or you might make 2 12 or 2 6, whatever floats your boat. The bunting will use only the 6-inch blocks. Now, this is a question that I've been seeing asked quite a bit in the Facebook group. So people have been wanting to know, do I have to finish with the first group? Can I add those blocks to the second group? You can do whatever makes you happy. So if you want to save your blocks for this second group, you totally can. I will say that I'm planning for the finishing options for the second group to be independent. So I'm not going to count the first group blocks in the settings for the second group, just to keep that idea of having 2 separate projects. That doesn't mean that you can't expand the second group and add the first group blocks to it. If that's what you want to do, you can totally do that. You don't have to stop at the first group. So again, it's whatever you'd like to do. I think you'll figure that out, or that's kind of the fun thing. It's a big mystery. So as the blocks start to come out and you see what they are and what you're making yours out of, or the fabrics or whatever, you'll start to have a vision for what you want to do. But just to give people the options of, hey, I just want to do the first 9 blocks as one project, and then I'll see about the second one. We're keeping them separate in our finishing options. Again, it's very possible that one of our designers will come up with a setting that has all of the blocks from both groups in it. If you're a new quilter, this isn't your first, or this is your first time doing blockheads, what are you in for in terms of how difficult are the patterns? And I can promise you that there is a great range. I love the idea of blockheads for learning to grow in my technical skills as a sewist and quilter. So we try and have a couple different varieties of block styles so that you can also, work on practicing those precise seams or maybe learn a new skill. So there's going to be traditional piecing in the blocks. There will be some foundation paper piecing, and then there will be a little bit of applique. So you have lots of opportunities to try new things with blockheads. With the 6-inch blocks, I know one year they did like 4.5 inches, and that's super tiny. So we're doing 6-inch finished and 12-inch finished. So, but still gotta make sure you get that precise 1/4 inch seam. And that's always a fun adventure, at least for me anyway. The theme for our blocks this year is, can anyone guess? I think some of y'all have guessed before, stars. So every block has a star theme. And I think that will just make such a fun quilt that can be really versatile, whether you're using more modern fabrics or whether you're going scrappy. It can look really traditional, it can look really fun and funky, and our designers have submitted some great designs. So I'm really excited to see how all of y'all interpret these designs with your fabric choices. So the fabric requirements that I put together are just a rough estimate. There's so many ways to vary up the patterns. It's really difficult to provide exact fabric requirements. So that's why I call them fabric recommendations. Regardless of whether you're making the lap quilt or the pillow, you'll need a about a yard of background fabric. You'll need about a yard of combined of a couple of different, like a primary and an accent fabric. And then you might want to do, you know, anywhere between 7 to 9 or 10 fat eighths of complementary fabrics and coordinating fabrics. So the fabric requirements are on the blog, and I will post them in Facebook so that you can have a ready reference. It's probably going to be, for the first group, a little bit less than you're used to if this is not your first Blockhead. So if you have a fat quarter bundle and you want to crack it open, you'll definitely be able to make the first group. You'll be able to make a good amount of the second group. Just remember, the first group is going to be a total of 9 12-inch and or 6-inch blocks. The second group will be of about 36, I think, to 40 12-inch blocks and 6-inch blocks. There are tons of options for notions, and we can definitely talk about some of our favorites in the in next week's kickoff blog post. But also, that's where you're going to want to go and visit the designers' blog posts for their weeks, because they'll always share their favorite notions. But I think for this first group, there's going to be some flying geese. There will be some half square triangles. So if you like using block lock, for example, that'd be fine. But we use most of the time in the pattern instructions, they have been written for the 4 at a time flying geese, the no waste flying geese. So you don't have to have the notions. That's the great thing. If that's what you like, awesome, but I haven't written the fabric requirements and the cutting requirements, and so keep in mind that if you are going to use a block lock, that does take more fabric. So you'll want to adjust your cutting accordingly. We want to make sure that we have instructions for anyone who, you know, whether you have those notions or not. So we write it with the 2 at a time half square triangles and then 4 at a time flying geese. So a good, you know, regular ruler, a good 6-inch and then a 12-inch for trimming your blocks. Make sure you got your rotary blades all sharp and ready to go. And yeah, like I said, if you're a starcher like me, got your starch ready, then you should be set. So let's talk about Blockheads merch. Okay, so we heard you guys, and I mean, that was like almost a given. When Lisa was like, hey, let's do Blockheads. You're going to do Blockheads, you know? And I'm like, okay, great. And I started reading on the Facebook posts about the t-shirts. And I love a good t-shirt too, y'all. So don't worry. We were like, okay, we got to have a t-shirt. So I'm really excited because this year we are partnering with one of our designers, Kate Spain. We've got t-shirts, we have sweatshirts and hoodies. And then there's tote bags. I think there's tote bags, and there's zipper pouches and even water bottles. So you can be totally decked out in your Blockheads merch. Not only is it available right now, but it's going to be up all year long. So there's no window. This year we've planned it so that you can order anytime. So if you want to get your t-shirt now, and then when the weather starts to cool off, then you can get a sweatshirt or a long sleeve shirt, or tell your significant other if you want to get me a Christmas present, you know, or holiday present or whatever, birthday presents, or just because you're amazing and you're worth it. So you can go over to katiespain.com, and then it's /Moda-shop. And that link is going to be on the archive page. And we're going to also put that in the Facebook group. I just also want to give a huge shout out to my colleague. I want to thank Allison and Abby and Jessie and Jillian, and then Tammy and Brittany, also Lisa here. We have a fantastic team. I'm so grateful to be part of this team. We're so excited about Blockheads and putting this on for y'all. We love doing it. Thank you so much for being so supportive of us while we do this. Thank you for supporting our designers. It means so much to us. It means so much to our designers for them to be able to see their block designs made up in all the creative ways that y'all interpret the blocks. So we just really feed off of that energy from you guys, and we just want to thank you for being part of the Blockheads community.